feelings. It's like I can't walk on the ceiling. Oh yeah, got me dreaming, dreaming in colors I never dreamed. Oh yeah, I let you in deeper than I let anyone else before. Fell in love with my broken pieces, took them all and made them yours. Didn't know what my heartbeat needed, skipping out, no I can't keep scoring. I lost my breath, boy, you got me breathing. Oh, every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Oh, magic. No, I'm never letting go. Now that I have it with you. When you kiss me, it's like the stars fall out the sky onto my heart to cover up what I don't wanna show. I let you in deeper than I let anyone else before. Fell in love with my broken pieces, took them all and made them yours. Didn't know what my heartbeat needed, skipping out, no I can't keep scoring. I lose my breath, boy, you got me breathing. Oh, every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Oh, you take me higher, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, yeah, you take me higher, baby.
Welcome to Radical Truth to Power, the progressive news show with Let's BS3. I am your host, Marlon, along with Anna Hart, along with Theas. As you can see from the title, we're going to get a small update on what's going on in Israel, Hamas. Now, I can't remember the other group that's now got involved in it. Hezbollah has not gotten involved in it, but we'll get an update. Small
According to
update
who?
on that. According to the bits and pieces I got.
No, I was just saying that from a
Yeah,
I
know.
Kind of rhetorical.
Trust me, I have skipped over so many stories that was painting Israel into being. Never mind.
I have an idea.
Yeah, a whole piece was on it, but anyway, so we'll get an update on that. The main focus that I want to focus on was something that Anna sent this morning.
Today.
This morning.
Well, I mentioned it last night, but
the Project 2025. Project 2025. We're gonna break this down, and surprisingly enough, it may wind up being a part of next Sunday's show. It's a lot to cover. I mean, it's so much. If we was to do that whole thing, it will probably take up this whole show, and I mean the second hour too. So I'm gonna break down some of it tonight, and I'll probably roll some over to next Sunday. Other than that, how's everything going, Anna?
Going good. Had my brother and nephew over for weekly family time, and just said goodbye to them not that long ago.
Feels?
Yeah, pretty good. I'm just tired from Atlanta driving. Driven a total of like 2.5 hours today. But I spent some time with my parents, my brother, my nephews, their dogs. So it was a good day.
Good. Let's see what we got out there before we even get started. As always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell to be notified because I post every day in joy. And I mean that to please hit that notification bell because I do post multiple times every day. Parker, just want to give a shout out to the Bengals. They won today. I was there at the game and it was so exciting. All right, cool. And hello, Parker. Hello, Susan. How are you?
Hello.
Hey, everybody.
And hello, Tracy. Oh, Tracy got a
Hello.
picture up there. All right, there, Tracy. I see you.
You done changed your logo?
You don't change it to a picture.
Her profile picture, yep.
All right. Well, without any further ado, let's get this party started. All right, let's go ahead and get through these two updates that's going on. This is from a British news agency. So here is update number one.
Doctors in Gaza say they fear thousands could die because hospitals are running desperately low on generator fuel and basic supplies. Palestinians in the besieged strip are struggling to find food, water and safety as they brace for a ground offensive. Israel continues to urge Gazans to flee to the north, giving them more time to take the main road to the south. The Rafah crossing, the only exit not controlled by Israel, remains shut as Egypt refuses to allow foreigners out until Israel agrees to let vital aid in. The UN estimates that almost half of Gaza's population have left their homes, the number of people in Khan Yunis more than doubling. But even the south has been hit by Israeli airstrikes, which Gaza's health ministry says have killed more than 2,450 people. Tensions have also escalated in the West Bank, with 55 Palestinians killed in the last week by Israeli troops and settlers. More than 1,300 Israelis were killed in last weekend's attack by Hamas, which the UK has designated a terrorist group. And Israel has closed the area along its border with Lebanon after a Hezbollah missile killed a civilian in an Israeli border village.
Y'all have to talk because I'm just catching up on a lot of this stuff. I don't like to deal with moving targets, and this is moving too fast for me.
Well, my thing is the killing of civilians is wrong. It's a horrible thing. And that's not just me making a disclosure. That's just what That's the fact of the matter. There are caveats to it, but I don't know that we're at the point where many of those caveats can be presented. So, what I would say is, I look at this conflict and I can't help but draw parallels with Haiti, with our struggle here in America, with the struggle of the indigenous people here in America, with basically the vulnerable minority up against a highly technologically superior and well-funded military force. And coming out of oppression, apartheid, and things of that nature. So the question I would pose to people is, what are the acceptable ways for an oppressed population? Because I think everyone can agree that they're oppressed. What are the acceptable ways for them to fight for their freedom and autonomy.
Mm.
Because it's similar to here, when we ask the question, what are the acceptable ways to be Black in America and disagree with the power structure? I can't walk, I can't sit, I can't kneel, I can't fight, I can't run, I can't hide. What are the acceptable ways to push back against something that is so detrimental, not just to yourself, but to your neighbors, your children, your people's very future? And I think if we would couch it there and then work forward, we can avoid many of the landmines that are set out for us, because people are not up for nuanced discussion. They are not up for all the things that lead up to something occurring. They only want to focus on what has occurred and then draw moral values and assign things that way. And it's deeply unfair, because at the same time that I am to mourn, and I do mourn, the people who are non-combatants in Israel that were killed in their homes, just living their lives. Now, there's, like I said, there's some caveats in there, because this was in the settler areas. But the fact remains, these were still non-combatants, and this happened. Well, we have an entire population that has been confined to an open-air prison. We've heard that said many times. Israel controls what gets in, what gets out. Israel currently is deciding that no medical aid, no food aid, no
Electricity.
fuel,
Yeah.
nothing at
Nothing.
all goes in to an entire population. But at the same time, they say out the other side of the mouth, we're not at war with the Palestinian people, we're at war with Hamas. Well, for those of you who are not familiar, Hamas is a revolutionary opposition force. They're not the government.
Mm-hmm.
Palestinians have a Palestinian Authority. That is their government. So saying that all of these people should be punished and their lives are forfeit because of the acts of Hamas is the same as saying all the people in Afghanistan, their lives were forfeit because of Al Qaeda or ISIS, or everyone in the South's life is forfeit because of the Ku Klux Klan and the other white militia groups. If you can't say that about those, even though out of the three things I just said, only in the South is the exception, because we did go into Afghanistan and very closely come very close to indiscriminately killing many, 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 many people. And those who couldn't sort out, they put in Abu Ghraib or put in the one in Cuba, and they just refuse to let them go with no trial, no rights. So it's just, the whole thing is a hot mess. So I would really rather, well, I really like for people to just answer, what's the appropriate way to fight for your freedom?
Mm-hmm. And you have to understand that this is not something that started a week ago, 2 weeks ago. This is something that has been building and building since the end of the Ottoman Empire, the end of World War I, even though that is not when Israel was formed. But all of these groups, please just think of the people. And like Thea said, what is the appropriate way to fight oppression? So, yeah, this is not weeks old. This is not years old. This is a century old at least. And if you don't know
Yeah,
the history, please go and look that up.
Yeah, take a look at it. Take a look, and when you go in to look at it, also look at America's relationship with Iran. So if you've noticed, America is always trying to find a way to pivot to Iran. They're doing the same thing with Iran that they did with Iraq, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had your issue. You should have gone after this group, which would have been you should have gone to Saudi Arabia. But Saudi Arabia is too much of a partner of yours, so you went to Afghanistan and used them as a proxy battlefield to fight there because who cares what happens there? And while you were there, you made the pivot to Iraq because you still had grievances from the first Desert Storm, the first Middle East War. And now we're looking at the situation with Israel, the entire nation, going up against a, they call them a terrorist group, and what they did was terroristic. So they're going after Hamas. And now America is already beating the drums for Iran. So that way, Israel can fight in Palestine. Iran is saying flat out, Israel, if you do a ground invasion into Palestine, you will have to deal with us too. They're not saying we're going to come get you. They're saying we will come get you if this thing happens.
Right.
Right? But that's
Mhm.
not the way our media will spin it because of our allyship. So, and then even within that, it's hard to even talk straight on these things because everything is so muddled.
Yeah.
We are unequivocally behind Israel because they suffered this horrible attack. But we pretend like we know nothing about the fact that they have that Netanyahu has actively dismantled much of the democratic principles that we say we support.
Yeah.
Right? They will say, well, Israel is one of the great democracies in the world, but it's not. It's literally what we're headed towards. It is right around the corner for us. So we're already considered a failing democracy by international standards. We are considered a failing democracy. Israel is a failing democracy further down the path than we are. But we're going to pretend all of these things aren't happening. We're also going to pretend that the blockades that Israel has had on the Palestinian people for 60 years, like that's not there. The fact that Israel has all the accoutrements, internet, technology, food, weapons, business, everything. Palestine gets 4 hours of electricity a day, not because they can't generate electricity, but because Israel has deemed it so.
Right.
Israel says, well, we want you to flee north, like what the video was just saying. Go north because we're going to blow this shit up down here. Sorry, did it again. Go north because we're going to blow this stuff up down here. You had these people crammed into a sardine can.
Mm-hmm. 14 million people.
And they're all, right? And they're poor and it's densely packed. And you have checkpoints and barricades all along the path that you're even talking about because you keep stealing land. There is no clear path to get to where you're telling these people to go. It's not the same, but it's like when they were telling poor people in the fourth ward when Katrina was coming through, y'all need to get out. But they can't get out because they can't get out the dang on neighborhood. They don't have the ability. They don't have the means. You're telling me to leave my elders. You're telling me to leave the sick. You're telling me to leave, right? Think about what you're telling these people to do. And I know right now it sounds like, oh, Theus is just all pro-Palestine. No, I'm pro-vulnerable people. I cannot support anyone that imposes apartheid, segregation, and oppression on a weaker people. I can't support you. No. I reject Hamas entirely. But like to leave the House member, Like she was saying, I reject the violence. I reject the terrorist group. I reject all of that. But can we please look at why the terrorist group exists?
Mhm.
Can we please look at what resistance creates? And I'm going to say this and then I'll shut up. I can't help but look, like I said, at this and look at history.
Mhm.
And if I was in the time of slavery, I have to believe I would have been on the side of Nat Turner. And I'd have wiped out any and everything you got. Man, woman, and child, dog, cat, fish. I don't give a. I would have torn through all of it. And you would have labeled me a terrorist. But all you would have had to do to avoid any of that is acknowledge someone's humanity and take your foot off their neck. That's it.
Mhm.
Let people have the same amount of freedoms and opportunities to dictate their lives that you insist that you have. Doesn't make it right. It just means you're making certain things inevitable.
All
And when
right.
I was listening to, well, not listening, but reading comments, I mean, from across the world, people are calling the Israeli people who stood up in protest of what happened, they were calling them traitors.
Yeah.
And then I was having it out with this one guy who was saying, in defense of Israel, that, what are we supposed to do when they come after citizens? And I said, well, okay, you just excused Hamas because
Yep.
the Palestinian citizens have been getting this for decades.
Yeah. This attack, wrong as it is, this attack came on the heels of them is Israel yet again desecrating the Al-Aqsa Mosque and spitting in the eye of the Palestinian people that they already have under their boot.
Yep.
Then Netanyahu, having dismantled part of the government, the judicial system, says that his goal is to strengthen Hamas so that they can further destabilize Palestine, so that he would then have a reason and justification to expand Israel.
Mm-hmm.
So you are executing the plan, and we're supposed to ignore that because of how horrendous the violence is. And I say no. I say you look at all of it.
Everything.
The people who took hostages, and the people who are helping to hide the people who took hostages, and the people who did the killing and all of that. You have the most robust. Y'all got a serious surveillance state. Y'all know where everybody is in Palestine. Don't play with me. So go get them. Go get them. And if you can arrest them and bring them back and make them face trial, cool. If you can't, then you handle it how you handle it. You're not getting no arguments from people on the left about that. What you are getting arguments about is you started a fight and then want to act like nobody's supposed to fight back.
Right.
And the people who always get hurt in the middle of it are the innocents.
Mm-hmm.
Every single time. You want to call Hamas terrorists, and I agree with you. What do you call the American colonists or settlers or whatever the right term is that fought in the Revolutionary War against Great Britain? I grew up being told that they were heroes. But it really sounds like they were terrorists now, doesn't it? They fought against the ruling order
Mm-hmm.
using unconventional means
Mm-hmm.
and took on a much larger foe because they were being treated unfairly and their rights were being denied. But we call them heroes. One side special forces is the other side's terrorists. And the only way to move away from this is you have to find a system of justice, right? And actually believe in it, because the problem is we're too transactional about this. And then we have to assess the situation and say, what are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? What needs to be adjusted? And have the political will to lose your job in order to do what's right to save some lives.
All right, everybody. Like I said, I'm not well versed on international. That's why I have these two on here to do my dirty work. And
remember, while this is, while Iran is having talks with, there's still protests happening in that country. There are still internal disputes. The world doesn't stop because an attack happened.
And that's so sad because, like, and y'all heard me say that, I don't know how long, it was a couple episodes ago, where I was talking about when you're talking about over there, it's very easy to make it very simple.
Right.
Right? It's like storybook time.
Mm-hmm.
But over here, we look at things in all these layers and colors and nuances. We know Matt Gaetz, and we know Lauren Boebert, and we know Bill whoever, and Joe Biden, and Chuck Schumer, and Donald Trump, and this judge, and this DA, and all that. Real complicated stuff, because that's us over here. So we accept that we're complicated, but we look at other people and act like they're just simple, good and bad. And that's not how it works.
Never. Mm-hmm.
There are people in Palestine, the vast majority, if I understand some of the other reporting, they reject Hamas because they know that when Hamas acts these ways, it only brings more death and destruction to their door.
Yep.
But at the same time, they know if they do nothing, they get more of the same. Because Israel also has a policy that they call
squeeze. So they get more of their territory squeezed. They get more settlements built.
Because they can't fight back. There's no threat.
Right.
So you have to have a threat in order to slow down people. So that's one of the reasons Hamas exists, unfortunately. That's one of the reasons Hezbollah exists, unfortunately. That's one of the reasons SEAL Team exists, unfortunately. I know people go, "Ooh, you just compared them." I'm not saying that. I'm saying what their purpose is according to their nation, not what their morals or anything like that is. Their morals are different or could be. I don't know. Depends on who's on the receiving end of that bullet. You know what I'm saying? But we have to avoid and resist thinking that everything is simple when it's over there, but respect our differences over here, right? We have to resist that.
All right, y'all, let's move on. Give us a good 30 minutes to deal with things that's happening over here. Something that's a little more in my wheelhouse. Anna Hart brought this up last night. She sent me the video of it today. I'm more understanding about what she was saying, and that is Project 2025. I'm not going to get into my opinion about it, so I even got the introduction to it. So here's the introduction to Project 2025.
For the last 18 months, conservatives from every corner of the far-right establishment, from extremist think tanks to former members of the Trump administration to tenured academics, have been working both publicly and privately on a new project. The project's goal? To rescue the country from the grip of the radical left, uniting the conservative movement and the American people against elite rule and woke culture warriors. And the stakes are high. According to this group, if we fail, the fight for the very idea of America may be lost. Last month, this group of far-right leaders, known as Project 2025, released a 920-page manifesto titled Mandate for Leadership, the Conservative Promise. In it, the document's 35 different named authors, united and copyrighted by the Far-Right Heritage Foundation, lay out an explicit, comprehensive plan to completely overhaul the U.S. government from the inside out, with the ultimate goal of furthering far-right wedge issues and concentrating as much power as possible in the hands of the president. Project 2025 is touted touted as the ultimate solution to paving the way for the next conservative administration, which they believe will take power in January 2025. While the entire project mimics the same talking points that Trump has harped on throughout his presidency and current campaign, the leaders of this project make clear that the plan is not dependent on a specific person winning the Republican nomination and ultimately the White House. Instead, it's a blueprint for the next conservative executive, whoever they may be, to push the limits of presidential power so far that they will answer to no one, wreaking havoc on the delicate balance of our three branches of government that have allowed us to function as a democracy for nearly 2.5 centuries. This is the conservative plan to take over the country.
In a nutshell, and it'll be explained more throughout the show, more throughout the more videos I showed. In a nutshell, the final agenda is absolute power to the president over absolute everything, which pretty much is dictatorship. It is the equivalent of saying, I'm CEO of this company, and my job right now is to delegate what I want this place to be, what their goals are, how much money is to be made, how we implement rules and regulations to get to that certain goal. It is complete and utterly controlled from top down. There will not be, and when I mean top down, and it does, again, it will get into it a lot deeper. I don't mean top down to management. They want top down to management and even who the managers hire. If you're not on board, you're ran over. If you're not with me, you're against me. The final rules and regulations begins and ends with the president at that time. That's why they were saying it doesn't matter who's in office. They need a Republican, but the blueprint is built specifically for when that Republican president gets in office, you follow this plan word for word. And if you do exactly what this blueprint says, we, Republican, conservative, get everything that we want. You get the power, the prestige, the power, money, prestige, and everything else. But really and truly, the conservative body gets all that they've been hoping for.
That's how they frame it, right? And then what I'm about to say is not hyperbole. I truly believe this. Trumpism is Nazism. Okay? So conservatism does not equal Trumpism.
Right.
But Trumpism sits within conservatism, right? It's like saying everybody who's a conservative isn't a racist, but it sure is amazing how all the racists are conservatives, right? They want the power. I mean, it's really the playbook for Nazism. So they called it the final solution. Excuse me. Isn't that kind of what Hitler called his agenda? And it was the Nazi Party, which was a conservative movement, which was born out of a fear of losing power. America, look at any of these videos, any of these shots that you show, I look at it all through the lens of Hitler's Germany, because they're almost 100% white, and the few who are not white are stand-in tokens for other groups that stand to be at to bear the brunt of what's going to be coming. So they're jockeying for positions to be the supervisors or overseers so they can avoid the treatment that's to come. They see it as coming inevitably. So it's better to be a well-kept pet than to be the one being hunted. See, that's how like a Tim Scott absorbs things like this. So this project 2025 to me is not really that big a thing to me, because they've had manifestos flowing around in alt-right and white supremacist circles forever. This is them saying we're close now, and we're at a position where we, meaning Republicans, know they cannot win a popular vote election. The only way they can win is through gerrymandering or restricting who can vote, those types of things. The same thought process of why they didn't want slaves to have votes, because there was too many slaves, and if you had free access, they would outvote the white, landowners and stuff like that. So it's the same thing. It's the same mentality, the same ideology. It has never changed. It's what it is. It's always flowed from there. They brought this shit over here from Europe as well, because they were fighting amongst each other, but they would just have different breakdowns of what they were fighting over. They would fight Protestants versus reformists or whatever the other thing, Anglicans or whatever. They would find a reason to fight each other, and if they get their way and they're able to subjugate the black and the brown, that's the first ones they're going to come after. Well, second, first they're going to go after the homosexual as best as they can. It's going to be hard to find them. So what they're going to do is a big dragnet. Because if you actually know a little bit about World War II history, Nazi Germany went after anybody who was gay, anybody who was a gypsy, anybody who wasn't white. They went after all of them. Okay, we hone in on the Jewish experience because they were made the poster child of scapegoating, right? Germany chose them as the main ones to scapegoat and move towards this solution genocide that they did. So it's the same thing. It's just now it's time for them to try to push a little bit harder. They're basically trying to be bold enough to get those who are sympathetic but not yet fully on board to see the inevitability of needing to join the team, or else you'll lose something, so that they'll have more numbers behind them, therefore less resistance in front of them. And there you go. And they don't want a king, right? The power of the utility, whatever the term is, we're giving all the power to the president. That's not really what it is. They're going to give the power to the president, but there's a board. There's a party structure that actually calls all the shots. And that's what they want.
Yeah, if you look back at Reagan was not actually an intelligent man. I mean, he thought ketchup and relish counted as vegetables. He had handlers. All the people that we know from the W administration, they come from Reagan's administration. Reagan was handed a plan very much like this. Every Republican president has been handed, here you go, sir, this is what our agenda is, and remember how we have always said a president is selected, not elected. Now, this scares me because of okay, when I saw this video, it brought home how much the things that we have talked about in the past couple of years, with me on, 3 years without me. Like, you remember when we said, look, they are looking, the conservatives, Republicans are looking to get in any elected office, any and all. They were looking to take over from dog catcher to city council people to state level to federal. That's what they're trying to put into place. They've never been as close to their goal as they are now. And one last thing is, just to pick up on what we were saying last night. There are the conservatives that give you those talking points that they have been given because they don't know the history of what happened. They don't know all the steps that it took for present day outcomes. But they're a great distraction while all these really scary people get into place. And yeah, it's scary for me. Already where we have gone is scary. So uh,
All right, Susan, you've been off for a while, so where did everybody else go? I'll be quiet for a bit. As of lately, when we get into these deeper conversations with the deeper issues, it tends to get quiet in the comments because I guess people are more lit. They want to listen more than they want to comment. That's not a shot at you. It's the trend that I've been catching on to. When we get deeper into something, we get less comments because people are tuning in and being more focused. The sad thing is a lot of these deep red states can already implement these types of Project 25 policies. I've said this before on the show lots of times, and I'll say it again because we got a general election coming up very soon. People need to start paying attention to these general elections and stop thinking that the primary is the thing that's going to change this country. It's those general elections of the people that you're not paying attention to that's getting behind you and causing the most ruckus in your life from a state level, from a city level, whichever way you want to say it, whichever general election we're having at that time. But you're not paying attention because it's not the popular forefront name in your head. And because you don't know who it is, then A, you vote straight ticket, or B, you just skip it, the name altogether. And I'm talking about not just city councilmen and state legislators and things like that. I'm talking about judges. Like, if you really want to see what it can affect your life like that, pick the wrong freaking judge. And then you have a state legislator. Yeah, you have state legislators who are pulling policies that straight up it's going to screw you over, but they're going to take it to the judge that they know going to find it okay. You really got to pay attention to your local area. You're going to have to find a way to start working from the inside out. But I'm not saying the primary is not important. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the general election is important too. Those are the policies that can hit you very quickly. More quickly than the primaries. The primaries, and I'm just throwing a number out there because primary can do a policy that was going to be implemented in the next 90 days. You got general election who could do policies that's going into effect next week.
You're mixing some terms, I think.
Which term am I messing up? Primary or general?
So yeah, so when you say general election and primary in that framing, it makes people think of the voting system, and but you're kind of talking about regular session and the voting, right?
Yeah.
So two kind of separate things. Because like regular session, they already in there because you ain't pay attention who got in there, and they passing dumb laws left, right, up, down, left, and all over the place. But I do agree with you though. Primary and general are extremely important, and they're important for a couple of different reasons. I also say get involved before that. Like there's levels to it,
Yeah.
levels to it, levels to
Midterms
it.
also.
Yeah, and special elections, all these things.
Yeah.
So, the primary. Speaking for Georgia, it's super important if you're in Georgia that you pay attention to your primaries, not just because this is where you're going to have the widest selection of people to choose from, right? Because you're deciding who makes it to the general, which is super important. You can kind of do your part to keep some of the craziest from making it downstream, if at all possible, or at least make sure the strongest one possible on your that aligns with your issues makes it through, right? So that is really important. But the other thing is, and this is maybe unique to Georgia or for certain states, the primary ballot is where you vote for your judges.
Oh.
In Georgia, the judges do not show up on the general election ballot. They show up on the primary ballot. So you need to vote in your primaries. If you want to, and this is a tangent from what we're talking about, but if you are really, let's say one of your pet peeves is criminal justice reform.
Mhm.
One of the quickest ways you're going to get there, it's not going to be who you put in the state legislature. It's going to
Right.
be who you put behind the bench and who you allow to become the district attorney and who you allow to be the sheriff who runs the local prisons, right? That's get the right people in place there, and you have a lot of criminal justice reform right there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I get so frustrated with the Democratic Party specifically, because they continue to pander to those of us who vote for them out of necessity.
Mm.
You hear it all the time, and we're hearing it a lot now. I'm tired of having to vote for the lesser of two evils. They're all the same. If you keep doing the same thing, you'll get the same result. Right? We hear that all the time. And while it annoys me to hear those things because it's very basic thinking, I also understand where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Because one thing the Democratic Party does not do is they don't give you a reason to do anything. Right? They also don't want to put their neck out there because, as we've talked about before, as a politician, if you actually advocate for real change, you will be punished by your voters. You're going to have a very short career. All right? Which then also means you're not going to be very good at lobbying. So there's your secondary career is gone too. So it's actually against your own personal interests to really work hard as a politician. So they don't. So then they just pander to us and they try to scare us. So they scare the people on the left with how bad the people on the right are, and the people on the right scare their people with how scared the people on the left are. And it's all about fear, fear, fear. And while it annoys those of us who are, I guess, forward thinking, or we think of ourselves as being better thinkers, we also have to acknowledge that fear, if you want a short-term result,
It's
fear
powerful.
always works better than logic,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Hell of a
People
motivator.
we instinctively react to fear, but
Mhm.
it takes time to warm up to logic,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So that's how the game is played, and it's unfortunate because we pick on third party voters, we pick on independent voters, we pick on non-voters, and we say, well, you're doing this which will lead to that. And mathematically, that's true. You do this, you're by your own actions voting for someone you know can't win and can't govern. You are making it more likely for this other person to win. That is a fact. You might not like it, it's a fact. But that's not the whole story. The
Right.
reason people are doing this, the reason why they are willing to take that risk, is because they're tired of being lied to, they're tired of being played with, they're tired of being pandered to. So this is them grasping at straws, and it doesn't have to make sense anymore. It is a need. It is a drive that I refuse to continue to be taken advantage of. I don't know how to fix it, but I'll be damned if I help you continue to play with me. And that's where a lot of those people are coming from. And
I can understand that.
here we are.
All right,
But
everybody.
this 2025 thing is just, you know, it's white supremacy, it's minority rule, it's fear politics, it's Jim Crow version 3. Are we at 3 now? I don't know.
Probably.
4, maybe.
Let's go ahead and get
Yeah,
to
I'm not sure what edition we're on now.
I don't know. I gave up a long time ago. Never mind. Because I want to get to this next part. We got about 10 minutes, so let's go ahead and get to this next part before the first hour. Here are the 4 pillars of the Project 2025.
Launched in April 2022, Project 2025 is the brainchild of the far-right think tank, the Heritage Foundation, which deserves its own entire video for all the shady shit that they've been up to over the last 40-plus years. Project 2025 is systematically building the future of the conservative movement and promoting policy objectives that would have devastating consequences not only in our government, but for every person living in this country. That might sound hyperbolic, but I'm telling you, I cover a lot of batshit stories about conservatives, and this one has me spooked as hell, y'all. Their plan to further these goals has 4 pillars. Pillar number 1 is the policy, embodied in that 920-page manifesto they dropped last month. Pillar number 2 is the personnel database. Described as the conservative LinkedIn, the objective of the database is to collect resumes and information for thousands and thousands of conservatives from all walks of life and industries in order to source the best candidates to pack every branch and administrative body in Washington and throughout the states. To ensure that this database of personnel and the chosen warriors who will infiltrate the government at every level are properly prepared to represent the conservative goals set forth in the policy, Project 2025 relies on pillar number 3, training. Through an online institute, Project 2025 will prepare the foot soldiers of the conservative agenda to push their policies from day one. And because they've been preparing for years, they will be ready on day 1 of the new conservative presidency thanks to pillar number 4. Pillar number 4 is the 180-day playbook, the step-by-step guide for the next conservative president to implement the policies laid out in the manifesto as quickly and systematically as possible in the first 180 days of their term. Through these 4 pillars, policy, personnel, training, and the playbook, Project 2025 aims to overhaul the entire U.S. government from the inside out, putting in place draconian policies and gutting important government agencies, all in the name of the Constitution and good, white, Christian family values.
Exactly like I said.
Mm-hmm.
So before we even start talking, because I'm making an executive decision because I want to get this next video in because it gives you the 4 pillars, but she doesn't break down what it is.
Right.
It sounds like a freaking interview for a job and everything else, but it really gets a little more in depth. So I'm going to go ahead and play the video, this next video, and then we'll talk about it. So we're going to get a little bit deeper into it. This is the beginning.
The policy book is divided into 5 sections. 1. Taking the reins of government. 2. The common defense. 3. The general welfare. 4. The economy. And 5. Independent regulatory agencies. The note at the beginning of the paper, authored by Project 2025 director Paul Dans, a former Trump official, lays out what's at stake. The long march of cultural Marxism through our institutions has come to pass. The federal government is a behemoth, weaponized against American citizens and conservative values, with freedom and liberty under siege as never before. The task at hand to reverse this tide and restore our republic to its original moorings is too great great for any one conservative policy shop to spearhead. It requires the collective action of our movement. With the quickening approach of January 2025, we have 2 years and 1 chance to get it right. The language throughout the policy manifesto and the Project 2025 website is militant, clearly meant to play into the fears and the patriotic duty that far-right constituents feel so strongly, the same militant language that led to the righteous anger of the January 6th insurrection. The report starts with, "We want you." The 2025 Presidential Transition Project is the conservative movement's unified effort to be ready for the next conservative administration to govern at 12 noon, January 20th, 2025. Welcome to the mission. By opening this book, you are now a part of it. Indeed, one set of eyes reading these pages will be those of the 47th President of the United States, and we hope every other reader will join in making the incoming administration a success.
I wanted to play that part really quick before we go into the second hour. It is I've said this before on the show, and I couldn't find a lesser known way of saying this. The Republicans love political ignorance. That first sentence, that first paragraph in the preface is speaking to those political ignorant people as saying, I want you to be part of a greater thing that's about to happen. I'm calling on you, the little man that they have oppressed and made to feel bad about your wants and your beliefs and your upbringing and your heritage and your liberties and your freedom and whatever other freaking word they can think of that they have been saying for the longest time. But I want you to be on I want you to be on the, what's the word? The beginning. I want you to be at the beginning of this great endeavor that we're about to get into. It's a call to arms. But it's a call to arms for the little man to be a part of something greater than yourself. That we're being attacked, and now that we have a plan, you can be part of that plan. As we done seen in America right now, January 6th, it don't take much. It really don't. It takes hatred, it takes fear, and it takes anger. January 6th. And now we're starting something that you have, 2 years to really sink your teeth into?
No, almost 1 and some months.
Yeah. January 6th happened in a couple of hours of some BS talk.
Well,
No.
Well, I know he sent the email, the text, but I'm just saying, yeah, I know. But my point is, this is a little fearful for me. A little. But it is still fearful. They're starting this very soon. I really wish I knew the word that I want to use.
Vanguard.
Ground floor. There you go. I want you on the ground floor of something great that we're finna start. And you could be at the very beginning, the ground floor of this.
The mistake, though, is that people think that this is coming, as though it's not always been in motion. Like she said in the introduction there, the Heritage Foundation's been around for like 40 years. And they are the go-to organization for judges and lawyers across the country.
Yep.
For any conservative president or governor. They choose from their slate. So we know that they're a far right organization. We know that they're an ultra conservative organization. We know that, and now we know because they put it in writing that they are also a militant reactionary group as well.
Mhm.
They are the administrative body of a Ku Klux Klan. Right? People think of the Klan as the guys running around in sheets that sleep with their cousins. That's just the ones that be on the ground floor. Those are the ones that are able to be manipulated through fear and anger. The Klan has always had judges, sheriffs, um, business owners, teachers, right? That they're all over the place. They're well ingrained, and they've always been. So that's why I'm saying with this, I get where people are getting upset or being the fear is being drilled up, and if you haven't had it before, I'm glad your people are getting it now. But it's like for me, people should have already been angry. People should have already been motivated. People should have already been on edge. People should have already been preparing for what they're going to do if things go bad. Because we've had the last 20 years, even if you weren't paying attention to nothing else, over the last 20 years, you've had enough wake up calls.
Yeah.
You just keep going back to sleep. And if you kept going back to sleep over the last 20 years, this manifesto, you're going to go back to sleep again. Because the reality is you don't want to believe this can happen here. But it can because it has. The same thing that's happening in Israel can happen right here.
Yeah.
We're literally walking in each other's shadow. You can come out of apartheid segregation like South Africa, or you can come out of apartheid segregation like Israel. These are your two pathways.
Mm-hmm.
And America is at a crossroads where they have to make a decision which way they're going to go. And you got the forces on the right who are saying, we want to go the way of Israel. Let's get bigger walls. Let's make sure that we, their words, not mine, mow the lawn, right? Which means ever so often you got to go into the Palestinian area, identify their leaders, identify their movements, kill them,
Okay.
destroy their bases, destroy their schools, set them back, and then go back and continue with what you're doing from inside the walls. America's doing the same thing.
Tulsa.
And
Yeah.
the right is just basically saying in a more blatant way, hey, time's running short here. Gerrymandering is not going to hold because we're losing our voting base. So even with the gerrymandering, we don't have enough people to keep that going. And we can't trust the popular vote in most of any of the states because the young people, unlike more times in the past, because young people have more information than they've ever had in the past, these young people are less likely to become conservative early enough to help us maintain power. So we can't rely on the popular vote. The only thing we have is the Electoral College, and we're losing our grip there as people have to move across the country due to climate change and economic opportunity. So the state's demographics are changing. So these people are very intelligent. The Heritage Foundation is full of some super smart people. They just got a stick ideology. So they believe in climate change. They believe in business trends. They believe in economics and flights and all that. They believe in all of that. And they're looking at it and they're saying, now is the time. Because now if we can get a Trump-like figure in 2025, then we can dismantle everything. So we ain't got to worry about winning or losing future elections. We will now be 1945 America. We will now be South Africa. We will now be Israel, where it doesn't matter if we have an election because we're only going to have an election for people that we decide can vote anyway. And we're going to make sure that there is no Democratic Party. And we're going to make sure that the black people, the brown people, and the Asian people, they know their place. They either join our team or they go over there and suffer the consequences. That's the play.
Yeah.
And it's nothing new. So I would just really wish people who do get upset by this stay upset.
Yeah.
I'm tired of people who get upset, let it go. Get upset,
Mhm.
let it go. When do you start to give a damn about your children?
Right. If this
Let's make
doesn't
it
take
personal.
root in 2025, bunch of people are gonna go back to sleep, as we said,
Absolutely.
But
If Biden gets reelected,
yep,
then they'll go back to sleep.
yep,
If Biden decides not to run and some other Democrat runs and he or she manages to win, probably a he, because they're gonna play it safe.
Mm.
People go back to sleep. They just
Yeah.
hit the snooze alarm. That's what we do. We hit the snooze alarm over and over again. People think they only have to be afraid of Trump because that's what they're being told.
Right.
They're being told, be afraid of Trump, be afraid of Trump, be afraid of Trump. And yes, you should be afraid of Trump because Trump has bought in wholesale to what these people want.
Mhm.
But that have to be Trump, which you're seeing because the Heritage Foundation doesn't listen to Trump. Governors across the country, they don't listen to Trump. State legislatures across the country, they don't listen to Trump. They have their ideology and they're executing the plan, and that's all there is to it. And they can switch the president out at any given time.
Mhm. Right. It's the fact that more and more people are waking up to the reality that there are these plans, that they have actually written down this shit, that they have every policy that they would like to be enacted in black and white. And I know certain people who, like you said, you don't want to believe that that could happen here. And so you push that off. But for those waning conservatives who reply to militant like calls, because many of them have been in the military, so they know which language to use to get people riled up. They're targeting the uninformed once again. And you're right, if we go back to a place of nonchalance and thinking that sorry, my dog's dragging the garbage again. If we don't actually do our due diligence as the voting public for every election, I mean, I don't know if every state does this, but Washington State puts out a voters pamphlet where you can read it's a short biography, but it will at least give you a starting point of how these candidates want to govern in their own respective seats. If you don't have that pamphlet that comes to your house, the vast majority do have access to internet, even if it's through a library. And I would say, please, absolutely research the people. And even when it comes down to, who is your local town councilman, sheriffs? I was trying to remember, Theus, when you said that in Georgia you vote for judges on your primaries. I remembered that, oh yeah, there was the last time during primaries there were judges on the Washington ballot as well. I don't remember if that is a consistent thing, and I would greatly like to look that up. Thank you for that. If we don't continue our own education, we are doomed to just completely repeat history. It's not a cute saying.
Well, couple quick things. Like one thing you brought up, you hit on. You didn't bring it up, but I really wish people would stop pretending that all these people who follow Trumpism and these hurtful and hateful ideologies are somehow being tricked or duped. They
Yes.
believe this, they want this, they seek this. This is what they are. This is who they are.
Yeah.
This is your coworker. This is
Mhm.
your child's teacher. This is your supervisor. This is your company owner. This is the person who's sitting next to you or across from you or behind you at your favorite restaurant. These
Yeah.
people, they are there. They hate you. They hate what you represent and everything that you hope for. But they seem nice and normal because there's no reason for them to confront you, because people as individuals really don't like to confront each other,
Mhm.
right? So I need people to stop, that part. And then
You need
like
people
I'm
to be
here,
willing to confront.
huh?
Wait, I'm not sure what
No,
you mean
I'm
by
not saying
stopping.
that's a separate point I'm about to make. But what I'm saying is these people are not just some nebulous thing, right?
Oh,
They're not some magical group of people wandering around in the woods. These people are very upfront and close to you. It's just
mhm.
that in our society, we don't really discuss politics, especially as messy as they've gotten. So they smile in your face. They go to your child's birthday party.
Mhm.
They sing happy birthday when it's your birthday, and they're really nice, and they're actually legit cool people to you. But they will turn around and vote for your destruction and won't bat an eye,
Yep.
because you are a good person, but the people you come from, I still don't like them. See, that's still there, right?
Yep.
Um, Now the other part about confrontation, this is why the left has one of the reasons the left has so many issues. We think we can think our way through everything. That
Mhm.
that we just go vote our way out of it, or by golly, let's pass the right legislation.
Mhm.
And the other side's ready to fight. Okay, so if you got 10 soldiers on one side and you got 100 librarians on the other side, how do you think that fight about to turn out? Right? So we got to stop with that. I mean, we talk because that's what we love to do. Like I talk, you talk, all that stuff. But
Mhm.
if when shit hits the fan, where you gonna stand? I know where I stand. I know what I'm willing to do.
Yep.
I know what kind of mess I'm willing to involve myself in. Where do you stand? And we've had these conversations in the past, and probably
Mhm.
about a year or so ago, where I said similar thing. If you're not actually willing to fight for the things that you believe in, then dude, what does it matter what you believe in? And so
Mhm.
the goal is to use the tools that we have to avoid conflict, because conflict is just going to get worse and worse and worse. It's escalatory, right? But if it's coming, I need to know where you stand, right? Because I'm not going to do all the fighting for you.
Right.
I will leave this country and let you sit in your mess before I will fight for some people who are going to hide behind the walls while I go out into the field to face certain annihilation.
Yep.
So that's the other part that we got to contend with. We got to decide that we want to be multifaceted as well.
Mhm. Mhm.
The conservative movement has brainiacs, imbeciles,
Mhm.
lunatics, and reactionaries. Guess what? We need those too.
We have them.
Okay?
We
No, we
have
don't, because we reject our own. We reject our own. The moment that they have the nerve to say that Antifa is a problem, even though Antifa isn't even a real thing, what do? Oh, no. I don't know nothing about Antifa. I'm not Antifa. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, no.
I'm a
There
card
is no
carrying
far left.
Antifa.
There's no far left militia groups lined up ready to go. If there are, they know they better stay quiet because there ain't enough of them to deal with what's coming on over here. Because these jokers over here are able to be upfront about it. They're able to say that, yeah, I'm in a gun club and I'm in a malicious group and I do paramilitary exercises. And they can say all that stuff plain and simple. But we had, what were those people called? The NFA. Them jokers, government turned against them so hard that they were searching with them in the daylight with flashlights. They came for them hard, right? Because you can't be aggressive and on the left, right? So we have to be multifaceted as well. That's the other thing. And then I'm telling y'all, I'll be up out of here. Telling you right now. I love America for America being my home, but I'll leave this bitch and take my family somewhere else in a heartbeat.
All right,
I'm not.
I gotta cut you off because we way over now. We're 16 minutes.
I'm sorry, I did it again.
You don't care. We're 16 minutes
Ouch.
over.
I love it though, because this is good conversation.
It will. It's gonna make some great breakups.
About 40% of the general population that I speak to, they had no idea that there were plans, and I mean manifestos written. When they think of manifestos, they think of shooters like Buffalo. There's so much more.
Yep. All right, everybody. We're going to go ahead and take out the first break of the day. If you have lost count, the grand total is this owes $4 for the first hour and it owes $1.
Fair enough.
Yeah. You did better than yesterday. So we're going to go ahead and go with not those two. Why do you keep doing that?
Whatever happened to the quarter jar? Like, put a quarter in when you swear.
Nah. So we're going to go ahead and go into our second hour. We're going to take a 3-minute break. Parker, just in case you didn't notice, it's a different song. So we're going to take a 3-minute break to reboot and refresh, and we'll see everybody on the other side with a full, like yesterday, Am I the A-hole, real or not, Mafia video of the week, and Foxy video of the week. Stay tuned.
Living for weekends, wishing I could take a break from this world. Running on a hamster wheel, but searching for something I can't feel. I just wanna be a lost girl and fly. Take a breath, feel my wings spread, levitate above the ground and make eye contact with clouds. Now I'm rising, I'm soaring above it all. I just wanna be free, finally, I wanna be free, I wanna be free, finally, I wanna be free, I always stay dreaming, never imagined I lose my spark. Living in this crazy time, putting back the pieces of my mind. I know how to run from the dark and fly. Take a breath, feel my wings
We are back, and without further ado, let's go ahead and pay those bills. Please do not forget to support Tracy at buymeacoffee.com/Tracy Media LLC. Help support Tracy in all of her endeavors. Please do not forget to go to PorelliaEtc.com. Help support Anna in all of her endeavors. Learn something that you didn't think you need to know, but you should. And as always, if you want to drop me a line, you can do so at radtp@outlook.com. That's RADTP@outlook.com. And Saturday Night Vibe will be back on next Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that like button, because we got a few people, surprisingly for a Sunday, on here. So if you haven't already, please hit that like button. If this is your type of content and you'd like to hear more, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you a thing.
Well done.
Yeah, like I said, I'm a lot better than I was last week. LOL, I think a lot of times I would click on the stream a little bit after you have all started, so I would miss the intro song, but now I know they are separate songs. Okay, that really does make sense, because you never knew what the first song was, so you assumed that the second song was the same as the first song. But that makes sense. And I'm just messing with you. I just like messing with people in a way. Am I the a-hole? I have 3 on here, and no offense to Anna, I think I already used Anna one time to pick the one, so I'm gonna give it to Theus this time.
No offense.
You have 3 choices, Theus. Niece is a bigot, husband stole child's bike, or not warming up husband's leftovers.
Well, we've done the husband stealing a child's bike before, so I guess let's go with leftovers.
We done the husband stole the child's bike?
Yeah,
about a year ago.
That's ringing bells.
Okay, y'all, we got new people here now. We can't never show another video, especially if you said it was a year old.
I don't know, man. That's just my approximation, but you asked, so I
You're not talking about the one where he returned the bike because the uncle bought it for him and things like that, are you?
The one where he took it out of the garage and the wife reported it like stolen or something, and
yeah, that's what I thought. That ain't it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't think I played this one before, and the only reason I didn't because the ending was kind of like you full of crap. So that's why I was like, I don't think I played that one before. But yeah, I remember that one, and it's a bike, not the motorcycle. You're thinking of the somebody bought the son a motorcycle. The husband stole the motorcycle, put it at another house, and hid it there. The grandmother found the bike there after the mom had already called the police. She called the police back, told them where the motorcycle was at. They arrested the husband. He came back losing his cop picking mind. And I know the part where you say the selling part, because the husband said, I stole the bike because I was going to sell it and give you back the money that the wife bought the bike. I was going to sell the bike and give you back the money so you can properly spend it on something. So no,
it's not that story.
It's not that story.
Okay.
No. I remember that one. Ooh.
So Theus, knowing that it isn't the same, you still want to keep the same?
You would still want to stick to the left?
I don't care. Yeah, stick with leftovers.
I don't want you to. I need you to care. You're not ever gonna pay me for the cuss in the first hour, so can you at least care the second hour?
Let's go with leftovers.
Yay!
Surveys say leftovers. All right. I won't warm up the leftovers.
I've been off work the last 4 days, so I finally had a chance to do some spring cleaning. I deep cleaned the whole house, and yes, it did take all 4 days. I did bathrooms, fans, oiled wood tables, opened and cleaned windows, everything. My husband knows that I'm off work, and I've had to serve him every meal since I'm home. 90% of the time, I don't mind. Yesterday, I was tired and making steaks for dinner, so I didn't feel like making a breakfast omelet too. He got upset, so I ended up making both breakfast and dinner. I didn't want to fight, but he said that I made a face. After dinner last night, I packed up leftovers, and I made it clear that I wouldn't be making anything tomorrow. He agreed since I worked today. When he got off work this morning, I served him something quick to eat. I have a hotel booked for this weekend for us. I was trying on clothes and packing when he asked me to heat up his leftovers. I said, I told you yesterday that I wasn't making anything today. He responded with, "You're gonna make a problem over heating something up on my birthday month?" I responded with, "I'm tired, and I explained yesterday that you keep making problems with me over food." He turned it around and said, "No, you're making the problems over food. You just don't want to serve me anything anymore. Cancel the reservation. I'm not going anywhere. Thanks for ruining my birthday month." At this point, I did heat up the leftovers, which, of course, he refused to eat. And the reservation is too late to cancel, so now I'm out of money too. All right, I'm going to read this top comment just because I agree with the first sentence so much. His birthday month? What the absolute Honey, it sounds like you have a job, and yet you're also in charge of all the household chores and food preparation, and your husband can't even heat up his own leftovers? Are his arms broken? And then refusing to eat the food when you made it for him? He's straight up abusive. This relationship is wildly unbalanced. You need to get into individual therapy and deprogram from this being anywhere near normal, because it's not the bad guy.
Oh, dang it. Hold on. There.
Don't make me choose no more.
Hey, at least this time you ain't telling me you're revoking my internet privileges again. You chose a story.
I'm just saying, I don't know. I don't know the background of these people, but I have a suspicion. And I'm like, come on now. No. Whole damn story is stupid. Whole. You said is this the am I the butthole one?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, the real or
Yeah,
not one is so stupid. I'm just trying to figure it has to be fake because ain't nobody that stupid. So
yeah,
no,
she is definitely the a-hole here. Because she makes bad decisions.
I've heard that before. I've literally heard fairly a couple of times. I have literally sat there and heard people saying you are the a-hole to yourself because you chose to deal with this toxic crap, whatever the subject is. I'm just throwing whatever the toxic subject is that they're in. You're the a-hole to yourself by just still deciding to go along with it. I'm just gonna make mine short and sweet and to the point. You probably do need individual therapy because I really do feel like you think this is okay. This story is a part of longer history of what you've been going through. He done got used to doing it. You done got used to accepting it. And I'm just going to break it down into its purest form for you to understand. This has nothing to do with marriage. This have everything to do with individuals. Nobody needs to go and warm up somebody else's food in the microwave. I've been warming up food in the microwave since we got our first microwave. Pretty sure I was 7 or 8 when that happened. I didn't need help with that. I promise you I didn't. That is not part of a marriage, honey. If you could go, hold on, Anna, I'm getting there.
Mhm.
If you could go, honey, you don't cook dinner for me anymore. Okay, that's entirely different subject. Honey, you don't even warm up food for me anymore. You don't serve me anymore. He's just told you what he needs you for. Now, birthday month, I'm not even going to get into that because I've done it. Our family does it. We have birthday months, not birthdays. I've done it before. We give, once a week for your month, you get little trinkets. You get little things through the month of your birthday.
Mhm.
So people who making a big birthday month, oh my God, it is really not that big of a deal. You act like you get a birthday party every day for the whole month or whatever. It ain't that big of a deal.
Right.
You get a little small something and then you move on. Then when your birthday comes, you get the big thing. So please just relax, folks. Y'all act like every Saturday y'all going on a yacht to party. It ain't that.
But if you can accept that as being acceptable and normal for somebody's relationship, then wouldn't it also be that you should be able to accept it being normal for someone's relationship that
no,
she cooks
no,
and does all the food thing?
no,
Because that's traditional gender role.
no,
Right.
no.
It wouldn't work for you, but
Because I'm
why
living
wouldn't it work for them?
because I'm living proof of one does not dictate that you can do the other one. No, one is totally
For
different.
your life.
Wait.
For your
Listen,
life.
I'm not the one writing into Reddit feeling that there's something wrong with this, and there is something wrong with this. You could have a birthday month. That's cool and wonderful, by the way. No offense to people
Because
like
you have a birthday month.
yeah, a lot of people have birthday month, and
But if you
birthday
didn't
months are
believe in
not
birthday month,
birthday months are not traditional either. What you just described was somewhat traditional. You cook, you clean the house, you raise the kids. I go out and make the money. That's the so-called American way. That's the traditional. Birthday months are not traditional. I don't know when it started, but I like it.
I'm just saying. I just was wondering, like, if the premise of the argument is if it's good and normal for you, then so be it. Then that should hold.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
now we got into another argument because how you feel that's normal doesn't mean it's good. Just like this woman
Well, I
right
mean, I
now
agree.
feels what's going
I
on
don't
is
think
normal.
birthday months is good and normal. Is good and normal. But that's
What is
me.
wrong with celebrating a full month of your birthday? You
I
literally
didn't say
said
it. I just
last night. You literally said last night. There is nothing wrong with tradition of Santa Claus because it really ain't hurting anybody. Somebody that's
right,
celebrating their month is really not hurting anybody.
right.
So it's because I'm an
But
old man that I can't do it no more, or what?
He never
I never
said that
said
you
that.
couldn't
I
do it.
never
He
said that.
just doesn't
No, I'm
like it
okay.
himself.
Because of my age, do you feel there's something
You're
wrong?
projecting now.
I
These are
Really?
things
wasn't
you see.
projecting.
These are things you see wrong with it. So you're placing the argument on me, and I never made any of those points.
He
Okay,
just said
but
it
that's what
wasn't
I'm
I
saying.
never
productive.
said nothing about your age. I never said nothing about your gender.
Okay, I
You
was making
did that.
a joke. I was
So
making a
you were
joke about it.
projecting.
I was joking, ageism. I was joking about that. Jeez, relax. I'm just saying though, if you can celebrate something, which I agree with you last night, which I just want you to see it. If you can celebrate something that doesn't hurt
Mm-hmm.
anything,
Mm-hmm.
then what's the problem with it? Because I had to think
Okay.
about the Santa Claus thing, and I went, okay, that's my age speaking. That you have to be a certain age before you get to the point of going, you don't don't believe in X. But if it really ain't hurting anything, let it go. You aged
Mm-hmm.
out enough to figure out what is and isn't real. So, ta-da!
And then you have
Congratulations.
the Schrodinger's cat theory of is it that it's not real?
Well, no, because my other argument has always been this, though. When people want to make sure everything is so real, At the same time, you got Marvel movies, you got Disney, you got Pixar, you
I
got
agree.
all these other things that is not real, but it is from the imagination of adults. People who
I
write
fully
these
agree with
things
you.
as adults, people who draw these things as adults. So you can't sit there and go, at a certain age, you need to put away your magical thing. Yeah, you would not have the stuff that we have now.
Yeah. When I was a child, I thought and acted as a child, but as
That's,
I became a
when I
man,
was
I
a
put
child,
away
I thought as
childish
a child,
things
I
or
walked as
whatever
a
it
child, I
is.
spoke as a child. But when I grew up, I put away all my childish things. Yada,
Yeah, yeah. So there's that book again. But
yada, yada, yada.
now I'm just saying. Okay, so she chose this man, and they have these weird things, and she was fine with it before, which means it's probably something about their social norms that she has established and or agreed to. Maybe she agreed to it out of duress because it could be a cultural thing. So it's just kind of like this is expected of me. So okay. But she's also at conflict from the standpoint that she's still a person, and when I'm tired, right? And and then she's married to a self-righteous, lazy, entitled dude, and he's like, okay, fine, don't cook me something, but could you warm it up for me? And you're like, no, I'm tired, and he's like, and this logical argument. Wait a minute, you're tired, so tired you can't push some buttons on the microwave. That's a legit argument. Now the other side of that legit argument is, yes, I'm tired, and you can't push a few buttons on the microwave. All right, so it's like, you know, but that's just them. I mean, I don't care because to me it sounded like some folks that I would never really understand anyway. Because I don't come from a world where any woman I've ever dated, and I've been with women who do kind of dote or did dote on me, but that shit would have never come up or been like that. And not just because I'm not like that, but because they just would never roll like that. So it's hard for me to relate to this story.
Yeah, because that's I may be wrong saying it's a circular argument, but it sounds like it is to me because it's you you too tired to press a couple of buttons on the microwave. Well, are you too tired to press a couple of buttons on the microwave? And it's going back and forth. The same exact argument, but now you're more or less fighting about who is more tired. Well, let's skip that.
Mm-hmm.
Who did the most to get themselves tired? And I'm just throwing something
But
out
now you're
there.
back to competing.
Yeah, are you tired
How
from
about I just
working?
don't feel like it?
Then
How
you
about
know
I
what?
shouldn't even be expected to do this?
Then you know
How about
what?
we need to sit down and redefine some expectations here, partner?
But that should be a base. That either be a base of your marriage or a renewed, redesigned base of your marriage. Because I'm not gonna lie, it's very realistic to believe that sometimes you just don't wanna. You don't have an excuse. You really don't. You just don't want to. Nothing wrong with it. You just something deep down in your body that is like, fuck it. I just don't wanna.
But if you establish that that's what you do, and then all of a sudden you just don't want to, yeah, that could be a problem.
Well, but it depends. Is this a elongated you don't wanna, or just a momentarily once in a blue moon, and I just don't wanna? Because one of those things is I don't want to go to work. Is once in a blue moon one of those situations? Cool. Are you establishing I don't want to every week? Got a problem now. Because I'm
I
being
don't
so
know. I
dumb
kind of
with.
lose the thread a little bit.
Hmm?
Yeah.
I know I'm saying I'm having trouble like following it a little bit. Like it's just one of those things. Like what does she want um us to do or think of her situation? Like I'm not quite sure how to process how horrible her life is that he expects her fix his food. I get the sexism. I mean, we can create arguments out of it, like the sexism, the
Yeah.
outdated gender roles, the inconsideration. We do all kinds of stuff. But what is she after? Because I'm like, you still microwave the food. Um,
Well, I
you
honestly think
obviously better cook because he's not that bright. It sounds like. So I don't know.
you're right, because unless we get some updates on a lot of these stories where we figure out exactly what Cubs, I have an issue with people who write these things and then just end it there because, yeah, I'm with this. Are you just going for validation that you was right and he was wrong? That's cool. Then hindsight, I mean, not hindsight, but then being a fly on the wall, realize nothing changed. You just wanted to be validated. You got validated, but in your life, you didn't change absolutely nothing. So, yeah.
I wish I would tell my wife I want a breakfast burrito. You know what? A breakfast omelet, man. You know, it ain't whatever. But like, my wife is a great cook. Her ass don't cook. I mean, just ain't. We've been married for damn near 20 years. She don't cook.
Yeah.
So
Fox,
whatever.
Foxy
Get
cook.
over it.
Well, we split. We go back and forth with cooking. One weekend she cooks, the next weekend I cook, and we just go back and forth. No, not at all. Okay, we're gonna move on.
Do you starve during the week?
Say what?
Do you starve during the week? What do you do?
Well,
You just
now we
said
have. Well, now we have a teenager, so she can feed herself. And
woohoo.
the youngest is at the age where she lives on Pop Tarts, so she's fine.
Wow.
And then they all sit there and wait for me to get hungry because they know I'm gonna eat. So that means you getting takeout or I'm gonna cook. But for the first parts of
Hmm.
their lives, I did all the cooking, and I hate cooking, but I like eating.
If you want to eat,
Right. So I mean, if you had asked me, before there was a relationship to contend with, if I would ever be in a relationship where my partner doesn't ever cook, I would have told you hell no. But you don't. That's one of the things I think gets in a lot of people's way. They think they can design the relationship that they're gonna be in.
Yeah.
You start making some adjustments and realizing, well, what really matters here. Um, I ain't gonna mean I ain't gonna be mad about the fact that damn it, I don't feel like cooking it. But on the balance, you just be like, I'm hungry. But whatever. That's why it's hard for me to kind of follow where she was coming from because it just sounded like she just had a bad week. I don't know. I mean, I don't
yeah.
know. Or maybe she needs to actually have a conversation with this person that she's married to and renegotiate some terms.
That's the thing. I really wish people would like we have talked about the lack of dating in the current romantic world, I guess. The lack of getting to know and choose whether you want this person to be your partner, and the lack of then the open communication of who is expected to do what in the home, outside the home, and these things can change. It should be, if you are not happy, bring it up, renegotiate. But if you don't bring it up, then it's your fault.
Yeah, and then there's the other part of it where like some things you don't really need to have a discussion on.
Like,
Some things you adjust to each other. You just do. Like you
yeah,
just adjust to each other.
right?
Right? I mean, each person has different strengths. My
Mhm.
wife is the primary keeper of the schedule for the children. She
Mm.
makes sure they go where they need to go, and all of that stuff. She knows that I am hyper vigilant and I am a mother hen. So if I ask, where are my children or where are they going, I need an answer. She always has an answer, but I just trust her to manage it. That's what she does. She does it better
Mhm.
than me. But does that mean that I'm not the one who, if my baby is finished with band and she had a performance or something like that, that means she ain't getting done till 11, 12 o'clock at night. Guess who's going to get up and go? I ain't sending her my wife. I go. You see what I'm saying? So there's just, everything doesn't even really have to be a discussion if you are in a functioning relationship.
Right.
But when things start to get out of whack, then you need to have a conversation. What's the point of being in a relationship with someone you can't even have a conversation with? Now, they ain't always easy because people get their butt on their shoulders, as they say.
Mhm.
But I'm quick to be like, man, if you can't make your partner mad, if you're scared to make your partner mad, then you got a problem in your relationship anyway.
Yeah.
So we got a problem, we're gonna talk about it. And you can get mad at me and then you'll get over it. But I don't my relationship shouldn't be in danger because we had an argument. And if it is, we got deeper problems.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've had an issue with a whole bunch of these as of not as of lately. I didn't want to bring it up, but about a month and a half, I've been having a huge issue with some of these Reddit stories, especially the comments, because it seems like the issues that they have is like just that. It's an argument,
Mm.
miscommunication, heated discussion, whatever. And the people, yeah, I have an issue with you going on Reddit to get the majority vote um, to be on your side, but it's always the same thing out of these people. I would divorce. I would leave. I would take custody. I would just get out of here. Look, I just want so much to just go on these comments and go, so let me get this straight. You never fuss. You never had one damn fight with your significant other. Not one.
You
It
never
was
fight for
rainbows
a
and sunshine
relationship.
from the time you met them to the time, and it better be damn rainbows and sunshine to the time one of y'all go into the ground. Y'all can't have like one disagreement. Like, what
Uh,
the hell?
and then you remember
Oh,
me, I'm an
buddy.
Android. So
Fight for
um
this relationship,
in the
eh?
dating phase, nah, I ain't gonna have no fights with you. I'm not. Um, sorry, I don't fight with girlfriends. Um,
Yeah, you
but
an android then, because there ain't no way in hell I
fiance and
can
wife, there's a commitment there. We work through things and all that good stuff. Because by the time you're fiance or wife level, I have a firm trust and understanding of your motivations and how you think and function. So going into an argument is worth my time because I actually care
Right.
if we stay together and I know that you're not actually just trying to beat me in the moment or some craziness, right?
Mhm.
Girlfriend, I don't argue with girlfriend. No. Trade them out like socks, man. Be like, hey, this ain't work, you know?
Okay, first of
Mhm.
all, I want to say, hey, Mickey, because you're coming in. I messaged Mickey yesterday and today, so it's not my fault. Way before the show started, so it ain't me. Just let you know. Also, my wife is on her way home after a 12-hour shift. I'm listening to you guys while cooking, so she has a nice meal when she gets home. Enjoying the conversation. Thank you, Captain Sunshine. I appreciate you. You're new to the show. Thank you very much for coming on. I truly
Thank you.
appreciate it. And
Thank you for coming.
hell yeah, good move.
Yeah.
Good move.
What? Good move because he's making some food?
Yes, Theus. Amazing enough, the most simplest things in the world is some of the greatest things. It ain't like you got to throw a
Yes.
parade for. You just cook a nice dinner for your significant other because they worked a 12-hour shift.
Yes, that's very nice of you to do, and I do the same thing when those things, right? I just asked a question, man. I'm sorry.
You just look like
My
food
bad.
would.
Shit.
You just look like you for what? Hey, for cooking.
He's being a nice man. He's being a nice partner to a nice person to his
And,
partner. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not giving you a cookie. I'm just saying
I'm making up from last week when you took full advantage of my sleepiness and my tiredness, and you kept doing this.
That had nothing to do with me. Hey, whoever that was that had commented, I think that's a great thing, man. Keep it up. Keep your relationship
Yeah.
strong. Do the
Yeah.
things that matter. You know what I'm saying? Small things matter more than the big things anyway.
It really do. It really do. The small thing. That's why I was talking about the birthday month. I don't want everybody to blow this out of proportion. You're not giving. See, this is what I'm saying from last week. Now you're gonna say, now
Just can't let it go, King. Just can't let it go.
It's all little gifts. Like for instance, 1 week I'll give Foxy flowers. Next week I'll give her favorite candy or her cookie. The week after that, I cook a small meal for us. Then the following week, when it is her birthday, then that's the real birthday where we do something extravagant. It's just a small thing.
Man, you just made me tired hearing that.
Yeah, boo hoo.
Happy birthday, baby.
Too bad. No, we ain't doing. Oh, good God, man. That was funny last night when Theus was on the show while driving to pick up his child, and in the middle of the convo, you hear the turd sitting or something. So I'm gonna need to see your license and
I'm a safe driver. I use turn signals.
I appreciate those turn signals.
Thanks to Geico. Today is homemade pizza. Ooh, nice.
You sound like my brother. Nice.
That sounds nice.
My brother is the primary parent.
Okay, Captain, let me ask you this now, and then we're gonna move on. Homemade pizza, including the dough.
Who does that?
That's what it sounds like. My brother actually does that.
Man, I'm gonna buy me some boboli bread, boboli, whatever it is, and throw some tomato sauce on it with some toppings and some cheese. Poof.
Homemade.
Made it at home.
Mm-hmm.
Why does Mickey Comments not show up in the YouTube chat? Because what you need to do is go to the very top of the chat and change it from top chat to live chat.
To all messages, yeah.
Then that will show up. I have to do that every single time.
Mm-hmm.
He comes back with, I need the dough by hand. All right, man. Or madam, or
Captain.
Or non-convinced Captain.
Captain.
All right now. But let's go ahead and move on.
You just started laughing like the Reddit man.
Sorry. Real or nah? I'm sorry. I really get these ones that I'm seriously contemplate that you're lying your ass off because you could not literally be this stupid. And if you have been on this show, Captain, I know you're new to this show. I don't use stupid a lot. I only use stupid for the most dumbest thing that a person can do. Everything, people can do some dumb things, but when you do go out of your way to just literally double and triple your dumbness, now it converts to stupid. So I really think to myself, when people do this kind of idiocy and then go on Reddit and try to explain their way and think, I'm going to type this out and I'm going to get people on my side. Either you are that stupid or you just fake. And trust me, there's some stories where some of them are just fake as crap. It's the same.
Like the grandma.
Mother. It's still the mother. No matter how many times you keep saying the grandmother, it's the mother, and it's been 3 years ago.
Some wounds heal slow.
Okay. Mud cake.
I, male 42, have 2 kids, a son 10 and a daughter 12. My wife 40 and I have recently been going through a divorce the past year, and I haven't been able to see my children as much as I would like. One of the main reasons my wife and I are getting a divorce is because of a difference in parenting styles. Wife says I'm way too harsh on the kids for their age, and I disagree. The way I see it, if you don't give kids some serious discipline at a young age, they're going to grow up and turn into criminals. That's the way I was raised, and that's the way I intend to raise my kids. But a recent incident has caused my wife to try and get full custody of the kids. This all happened very recently, so nothing has gone through the court system yet. As of now, it's just all words. But I'll explain my side. I had the kids for the first weekend I've had them in quite a while. Wife has been staying with her parents a few towns over. It's been storming pretty intensely for about a week where I live, so my backyard is incredibly muddy, which is usually where the kids go to play. The rain seemed to let up for a bit, and I told the kids to go out and play. They moaned and groaned about going outside because they wanted to watch their cartoons, but I said that they should go get some time in the sun while they can because of the rain. So they put the rain boots on and coats on because of the mud and went outside to play. I turned on my shows and sat down for about an hour before going to look out the window to check on them. Daughter was building a mound of mud and was completely covered in it. I opened the door and yelled to stop playing in the mud. We have a slide and a swing set, so they have other things to do. She left it alone and went over to play with my son. Another 30 minutes pass, and I look out the window again. Son is on the swing set by himself, and daughter is working on her mud pile again. This time, I got angry. I opened the door and went outside and yelled at her for playing with the mud. She began to cry and told me that she was making me a mud cake. I told her that I already told her to stop playing with the mud and she's going to have to fix the mess she made in the yard, multiple divots and holes from where she had dug up mud and dirt. So I brought son back inside and helped him get cleaned up while daughter was outside fixing the yard. Son turned on some cartoons and I sat back down in my chair. I must have fallen asleep for a bit. I'd had a few beers, but nothing strong. Okay. Because whenever I came to, it was pouring rain. I looked around and daughter was nowhere to be seen. I realized I had left her outside to clean up the yard and locked the door. Okay. I ran over to the window and looked outside, and she was laying in the rain in the pile of mud. I opened the door and yelled for her to get out of the mud and come inside. She sat up and came inside, all upset and angry. I helped her get cleaned up and got both of the kids some dinner. She barely spoke to me for the rest of the weekend. Well, whenever they came back to mom, they told her the story about the mud cake, and she was livid. She messaged me about how I left our daughter in the cold rain in mud for multiple hours while she was starving, and I locked the door. I think she's overreacting. When I was a kid, my parents did things like that to me all the time, and I can't be held accountable for falling asleep as I had had a few drinks. I know it's not the best thing to do, but I can't be blamed for it like I did it purposely, and I had to tell her to stop multiple times, so I think that was a just punishment. But now she's trying to get custody. So am I the astronaut for getting on to my kid for making a stupid mud cake?
I was abused, so I abused my children. Is that wrong? I hope she get full custody.
Mm-hmm.
He should still have visitation because he's not like intentionally a monster, but that's a really bad parent. You don't ever forget your kids. And I don't remember how old he said they were,
I don't
but
know.
he had to help them get cleaned up, which means that they were in that younger bucket.
Yeah.
Ain't no way my kids under the age of 10 are going to be outside playing, and I don't have almost constant visual of where the hell they at. That's just not going to happen. I know it was different when we were kids. It just ain't like them days. So, and then how you going to send your child outside in the rain to play and then tell them not to get in the mud?
And I fell asleep, but I drank beer, so it's not my fault.
Yeah, it's the beer's fault. But I'm a good parent. No, you're not.
No, you're not.
Okay, so I guess we're treating this like it's real. So let me just get into it.
I said
I
real.
mean, it sounds like it could very well be real to me.
Okay,
I
so let's
think
go
real.
ahead and get into it. First of all, my kids ain't going outside because it has rained, it's muddy outside, and it's going to rain again. You're not going outside. Sorry. Now, selfish, unselfish, whatever, you're just not going outside because I don't want you getting caught in the rain. We'll do some, and yeah, the younger me would have said, let's do some more activities other than parking you in front of the TV and looking at TV and everything else. Let's just go do something else. Number two, you was more concerned about your yard than your kids. Just be realistic about it. You didn't give a rat's ass about them playing in the mud. You was more concerned about what your yard will look like when everything dries up. And now you're going to have divots, Hank Hill. So you were more concerned about your yard than anything else. Number 3, there is not a chance. I don't care if they are in my backyard. You could ask my kids, because I've done it before. My kids have played in my backyard, and where was my chair? Either at the back window or on the deck. You will be watched. And it has anything to do with parenting. It may have something to do with parenting. But I don't know if you're going to get hurt back there. Or you doing something that's going to get you hurt. You said you had a slide back there. How's your kid sliding? Is he sliding the right way? Is he sliding head first? Is he climbing up and just letting himself go? Is he jumping down the slide? I don't know. And you don't either, because the couple of beers that you had to make you fall asleep, which pretty much tells me nobody drinks a couple of beers and falls asleep. But let's say that you did. It was the last couple of beers that made you fall asleep, which means the first couple of beers already had you freaking tipsy and not giving a fuck.
Which means we're at least at 4 beers now.
Yeah. You already deep in to stop not giving a damn. So the last 2 beers was the one you're talking about that put you to sleep. Number 4, I don't even.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Do the numbers.
I don't lost count, but the next. Who the hell called their son in and then locked the door? Fucker, you had 2 kids. 2. You remember the other one?
The other one's a girl, though.
Yeah, he was intentionally harder on.
You got your son in nice and safe and cleaned up and parked right in front of the TV. Remember the TV? The TV you said you don't need to be looking at TV. You need to go out and play. And then the next thing you know, because you still don't give a damn, I'm going to park yourself since it's rated outside. I can't see you outside because I have a limited point of morals to not make you play in the rain. But I am going to park you in front of the TV, the same TV I told you not to park yourself in front of when the sun was up. Now, I may need you to go check on your daughter, and I'm talking about the mother, because I'm trying to figure out exactly why the hell is your daughter sitting there. It's rated outside, and she laid out in the mud. I'm going to park myself as close to the door as I possibly can not to get rained on. I'm just not going to. I don't know what that's about. And also, let's take into consideration, OP, you're the one that's telling the story. So who knows? The kid may literally have the common sense to park herself as close to shelter as she possibly can. But you're telling the story that she only got wet because she's laid out in the middle of the damn yard in the middle of a rainstorm. Your credentials are not very credible at this time in a way, because you ended off everything with, that's how I was brought up. Why? And why do you not ever question that? I grew up in the hood. There are some things that we had to do for survival, and my mom sending me out in the rain was never one of them. Not once. As a matter of fact, I guarantee you my mom would cuss me out when I got caught in the rain.
Now, Anna, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but there are a couple cultural differences that can come into play here as well. Because I've had a lot of white friends growing up, and they didn't have as much of a problem playing in the rain. They don't mean they sat in the mud, but they ain't had no problem going outside when it was raining.
Me too.
Part of the fun. They put on their rain boots, and they went just a splashing and having a good ass time.
Yep.
Black folks, we ain't taught to do no shit like that, because you ain't coming in the house tracking mud in my house like that. But it's just a cultural.
Maybe that's a cultural thing then.
But
I was not
getting drunk and forgetting your kids outside. Now that ain't cultural. That's an alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
I literally the closest I can get, and maybe it is a cultural thing, because the closest I ever got for being out in the rain was, you better be parked on the porch and you can look at the rain fall, but you damn well better not be out in the rain.
we had mud rooms in a lot of our like farmhouses and where you would take off your outer clothing that were all muddy, your boots, your soggy wet stuff, so that yes, you did not. Every mother gets mad if you traipse mud through their household. Um, every parent, I should say. And but yeah, the only time it would become an issue is if somebody already had a cold and they're like, no, you're not making that worse. You have to come back inside and take care of your health. But no, I played in the rain a lot.
All right. Now, this is one you may or may not be able to speak to, but I have seen it quite often. Two little peculiarities that
Okay.
may or may not be as relevant now because I'm older. Like maybe they don't do this as much anymore, or maybe it's gotten to the point where everybody does it. But I remember growing up and being completely befuddled by it's cold outside and white folk walking around in sweatshirts and jackets and a pair of shorts on. I still don't get that. I don't know if anybody could ever explain that shit to me, but I always see it and I just don't get like your legs don't get cold, but the rest of you get cold. I don't understand that one.
I
It,
don't
And then
get
the
it
other
either.
one,
it literally is
the
not a culture thing, Diaz. And I'm going to give you an example of why. I don't
okay,
think
go
it's a
for it.
culture thing. I think it's a regional thing. I was the
I'm in the
last.
South.
I'm telling you from the South. I'm from the South. I'm right above you. But what I'm going to tell you the story of is something that is below both of us, Florida.
Well, them
And
people are northerners.
we're driving up the Florida streets going somewhere, probably get a cigar. And we at a cross stop to get on the main road. And I kid you not, it is hot as all get out. It's what, June I went or July or something like that. It's hot. Florida's automatically hot anyway. Then the summertime is hot and humid. I kid you not, if I didn't see this black woman and this white male with a black sweatshirt on, black sweatpants on. No, not a black sweatshirt, a black hoodie because she had the hood up and tennis shoes. And I'm looking like, you have got to be kidding me, because I would have passed out before even crossing this street, let alone coming out and walking.
So a couple things. One, I did preface this and might no longer be quite as accurate from time-wise because a lot of things have changed over the last 10, 15, 20 years. But the other thing is, that was a one-off. I see this shit all the time.
I
Right?
saw it twice.
And then that's Florida. Florida is like Ohio and Texas. You can't hold those three states against the rest of the country. They just different. I mean, you might have saw Kanye and his sister for all we know. That was some weird shit that Florida is just what they do. But no, but the other one I was going to touch on is it's raining and you take off your shoes and walk in the rain. So you haven't run into that one? Okay. Because when I was in college,
Say that again. Say it again.
that happened all the time.
Say it
It's
one more
raining.
time.
It's raining.
Mm-hmm.
And they take off their shoes and walk barefoot through the rain.
Yeah, okay.
I saw it all the time, but that might have been just where I was. I was in South Georgia, so it doesn't really get cold there. And maybe they just a bunch of country folk. I don't know. I was just curious. That's just two random things that really don't mean nothing because it's highly anecdotal.
It may be a regional thing, not a culture thing. Like whatever it is. Like for instance,
but playing in the rain, that is a cultural thing, bro. I'm just saying. Now you got country black folks who go play in the rain too. That's different. But what I'm saying, like, white folks just don't look at the rain, being in the rain, the same way that a lot of us we're taught to.
And
do
it may be a
it's
culture thing, because the first thing that when you said take your shoes off and walk around, I'm thinking Yeah, you go ahead and do that in the hood and come back with some blood-soaked feet because everybody done busted a beer glasses on the sidewalk and you think it's safe. Like, yeah, no, that's the first thing you learn when you young, not to ever
Don't go
take
outside with
shoes
no
off.
shoes on. Don't you do that.
Bruh, what is you talking about? So no, no.
So that could be more of an urban rural split. But no, I mean, no, it's just like I know a number of country folk of all backgrounds. They ain't got no problems walking around outside with no shoes on, and I don't understand that anyway. But it's just something I used to see when I was in college. It's just they take the shoes and socks off and just be walking, just be wet. Like,
I mean, I don't get taking off the shoes in the rain. I do get taking off your shoes on a beautiful day and feeling the earth.
I ain't gonna do that.
I don't know.
That's how you end up with worms.
You could.
What?
I'm serious, man. All right, I was pre-med when I went to college, right? Graduated finance because I got my then girlfriend pregnant and I needed to be able to make money. But one of the classes we had to take was zoology. And you start learning about all these different types of worms and parasites.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was good, Joe. Like, I already wasn't gonna go outside with no shoes on anyway. But after you learn about the different things that are out there, no. It's just like when people like to eat their food rare and medium rare, these people ain't never took a biology course. Cause there's no, I need you to kill whatever is living in there.
Well,
whatever's in there, kill it.
Thank you so much for letting me know that, then, because I'm not taking no biology course. Because if my steak is gonna be medium well, I'm not. No.
Medium and medium well is different because you have to get to a certain temperature to have those. But anything less than medium, you playing with some issues because you don't know. You don't know. Now, more often than not, you're gonna be fine. But just saying, this little parasite, woo.
Captain.
And then I just learned about a parasite the other day that gets into your brain and it's just.
Yeah, Captain Sunshine said, "My wife is home. I'm off. Enjoy listening." Captain Sunshine, thank you for dropping by.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
If you haven't already,
hit that
like button and please return. We'll be back next weekend.
And subscribe.
We enjoy you.
Subscribe. I never put shoes on starting late winter and never use them again until the ground is too cold.
I'm sorry, Mickey. I can't ride with you. If I ain't wearing shoes, it's because I'm in the house.
Yeah. I don't know, because the deck that I'm thinking of building, I'm refinancing the house next year so we can do a whole bunch of stuff that I've been dreaming of doing, and the deck is one of them. I don't know. If you see one of the broadcasts that we start doing on the deck, you realize my dream has been completed and I don't have no shoes on. So I'm just letting you know, off the bat.
If that's the case, I walked out there with some flip-flops. But anyway, I'm also looking at doing something with the house too, because we are in an amazing equity position like that. We're almost done paying the house off already. So
yes,
what I would like to do is actually expand my house. Like, I want to expand it out over my driveway and add to the back of it. So I'm basically doubling the size of the house, because it's like you could spend $200,000 and dang near double your house, or you can go spend $1 million and you just got a bigger house. Like, the markup on a new house right now is bananas. So I can't afford, like, when I look at, because our problem is we've outgrown the house. Well, if I go to buy a bigger house, I said $1 million, that ain't the life we live. But at minimum, it would have to be a $500,000 house or so in order for us to have the space we need. I can't afford no mortgage on a $500,000.
No.
So nah.
All right, let's go ahead and move on because it's getting kind of late.
We have to go stay with Marlon and
No, man. Once I get
oh, you're
that,
right.
once I get that debt
Production
done,
company.
and once I get that cement done, where I can put all my smokers on there, it's gonna be very hard for me to say, okay, look, we're not gonna have a show this weekend.
You said plural.
What smokers? Yes.
Yes.
Well, a smoker, a
I,
grill, and a flat top.
I don't even know how to. I don't know. I'm not good at it, man. I'm so basic. Like
Oh,
mine came with a smoker. I think they call that little thing on the side.
yeah. Stop. If you start the whole conversation off with that little thing on the side, then no. Never mind. No.
Oh,
Mafia
I'm sorry.
video of the week. That's sad. We're gonna go ahead and
This
get
was a
this.
safe space.
It's not. No, I never said it was a safe space. I don't know what show you talk about. I'm gonna go ahead and get this video out, but I also want to make sure that we do revisit this next February. It is a great Black History topic. On a judge who was the slave of Martha Washington. Let's go ahead and get into her history. If this is a quick synopsis of it, trust me, if you got to get into it, you need to get more deep into it to learn more about this, but this is just a quick synopsis.
This is the woman who defied George Washington by escaping his enslavement and taking her freedom into her own hands. Ona Judge was one of hundreds enslaved by the Washingtons. At 10 years old, she became Martha Washington's personal slave, with her at all times. In 1796, when the Washingtons decided to give her away as a wedding gift to their granddaughter Eliza, Ona made her break for freedom. She slipped out and into hiding onto a boat called the Nancy and up the coast. An advertisement with a reward for her capture quickly appeared. It read, "Absconded from the household of the President of the United States, Oni Judge, a light mulatto girl, much freckled with very black eyes and bushy black hair. She is of middle stature, slender, and about 20 years of age." To avoid bad press, the Washingtons began pretending Ona was kidnapped, not run away. Upon hearing she was taking refuge in New Hampshire, George quietly sent people to force her back illegally, but Ona evaded every attempt. She would live her life free for 52 years, marry and have 2 daughters, Eliza and Nancy.
One word.
Mm.
Mulatto. Someone explained to me how there was a mixed race girl enslaved by George Washington that he was so hard pressed to get back. I wonder how that could have happened. In case you don't know, he's a rapist and he's a human trafficker,
Who
and
the
I hope
hell
the
wasn't?
worms eat him and fuck him. Huh?
Who wasn't?
I mean, who wasn't?
No, because I don't want to play this game of
All the white people back then weren't doing that shit.
but I want to make this perfectly clear. You not raping or murdering a black slave is the minimum you could do. You are still a slave owner. Do not
Yeah,
make
you're a human
yourself
trafficker.
a parity
Yeah,
of great knowledge because you didn't do the most atrocious thing that you can do to your property.
no, I fully agree. I'm just saying that a lot of people, because the term mulatto is not used very much anymore, that they may not understand what that word means.
Yeah.
We call people mixed race now.
But we're gonna get more into that during Black History Month. I love that. That was fun.
Yeah, but George Washington was notorious for sparing no expense to track down any slave who dared to flee his plantation.
Yeah. Also, I'm working on it. I'm trying to put together for Black History Month. For Black History Month. It's totally off the point altogether. But I am putting together a whole series on Christopher Columbus.
Wow.
Why? Because I am going to, and I'm not going to say expose like I'm a freaking journalist or everything. I'm going to put the stuff out that people have been saying about Christopher Columbus out there about Christopher Columbus. I just always
Make sure you start with the fact he wasn't even an American.
Well, the fact that he didn't discover America.
Never even set foot on it.
Like, I discovered your backyard. I'm just gonna plant myself here and
hold tight, I'll be back. I got some more people to kill.
Or adolescents to sell. Parker said, Parker with you, Theas. I wonder how that happened.
Right?
Until the late 60s.
Such a mystery.
I recognize our name. I'm kind of proud of myself. We try to teach, but either way, let's go ahead and get to the end of the show. Foxy's videos of the week. Theas, I am so glad that you're on this show because I just want to find point on this. Black people don't do this.
Want to hear another secret law enforcement doesn't want you to know? It's called failure to identify, and it's not what you think. According to the Badge ID Act of '93, all law enforcement officers are required to disclose their badge ID number to anyone who asks, or they could face time in prison. Now here's what they don't want you to know. If you were to ask an undercover cop if they were a cop, they can lie to you. That's not illegal. But they are not exempt for the Badge ID Act. So if you were to ask them for their badge ID number, they have to tell you. And if they don't, they could face up to 30 years in prison for failure to identify.
I'm not sure how true that is.
Not at all. And let me rephrase it. Let me rephrase it. Why I say don't do it. That law may be on the books. I'll have to look it up. I'll update everybody next week about it. But even if that law is on the books, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, because of the precinct, the police department that you're dealing with, they go by their policies. The majority of the police policies out there, they ain't got to say shit if they're undercover. Not a word. They literally can say and do anything. Not out of hand, of course. But yeah, they can lie straight in your freaking face. So you can ask all you want to about their badges and what's your name and are you a cop, because you have to tell me that's not true at all. And I've literally have several videos of people who believe if I ask you, are you a cop, you have to tell me. And there's lawyers that go, I don't know where that came from, but that's not true. That's not true at all.
Yeah, that came from TV.
That's not true. That is absolutely not true. They do not have to tell you nothing if they're undercover. That's the point of undercover.
Wouldn't that be hilarious, man? You got people undercover, right? And it's like you're allowed to do any type of crime short of a violent crime. Anything else you can do in service of your cover. But if somebody asks you if you're a police officer, you have to tell the truth. No, I don't want that job. No, I ain't gonna do that one, sir. No, sir. But it is true. A police officer is able to lie to you because they're not the ones that is under suspicion of committing a crime. That's you. And yeah, they're allowed to lie. It's just that simple. And there's no such thing as small talk. For all you people out there, there's no such thing as small talk with a police officer. when they're in uniform or even out of uniform, because at all times they are an officer of the law. At all times. So they can't just willfully be blind to you committing a crime just because it's their weekend off. So take with that what you will.
And Parker, that's my point that I was making. So that's why I was like, black people don't do this. Since when do cops have to follow the exact correct procedure while doing their job? They don't. And they're looking.
They don't even have to read Miranda rights no more.
No, not at all. Somebody said something that was hilarious. It's so cringy, but it's so true. It is amazing, that you don't having what's the term? Being not knowing the law is not a defense against the law you broke. Yeah. I know there's a better
ignorance of the law is no protection.
Yeah, it's amazing that being ignorant of the law is not a defense, except if you're a cop. Because the cops ain't got to know jack squat about the law at all. They can just say some of the most BS things that you know damn well that's not a law or anything. But you bring that to court and they was just doing their job. That's not a defense against them. It's just strange that we need to know more about the law than cops.
We have to be better trained than the police. Like, we have to be better at conflict resolution. We have to be better at de-escalation. We have to be able to be calm and reasonable no matter what the situation is. But they're allowed to be terrified, scared, and violent because they got a hard job.
Even though they're not even in the top 50. But okay, let's move on. We can roll with this stupid argument.
Hello, guys. Good morning. So apparently, the Democrats have stated that they will not.
Can you repeat that?
And I repeat, they will not be debating in the 2024 primaries.
Biden's the only guy. No one else put their name forward.
What the actual fuck?
Yeah.
Is this communist China?
Oof. I don't get the correlation.
It's starting to fucking
Louder.
feel like
Louder! Okie Alley from Cali, you have the big mad because Democrats are not having a primary in 2024. Can you just show me the Republican primaries of 2020? What's that? They didn't have one! By your logic, that makes Trump and the whole RNC communist. Welcome to the team. But seriously, the last incumbent president to host a primary was Gerald Ford in the 70s. Because this is where you got that from, right? Marjorie Taylor Greene. She even calls it the Democrat Communist Party. Because that seems to be the Republican plan, is take something that's been happening for decades, that they themselves do, slap the word communism or socialism on it, send it out to their base, fire up their faux outrage so that they can scream into the TikTok void about it.
Yeah, she did get kind of big mad there.
Am I lying to think that she had? I don't want to be arrogant when I say this. So just you gotta beat me down, fine. I'm cool with it. I done got to the point where I realized there are people who do know what the BS they're talking about, and people who really don't know the BS that they're talking about. And I really think this woman has no idea what the hell she's talking about.
But she's passionate.
No, she's just angry and loud.
Passionate. Passionate.
Okay.
She just cares so much
about this country. Sorry, and the children. I'm sorry, and the future. I'm sorry, and the economy. Whichever one you want to use. But either way, we have had two very heavy shows back to back. So I'm going to end the weekend off with a lighthearted, video. We're not gonna get like, we're gonna go into the week at least putting a smile on our face. So just title this "Leaving a Good Note."
What happened when frogs parked illegally?
Don't know.
They get towed.
What did the buffalo say to his son when he left for college? Bye, son.
Oh my gosh, that was good.
Oh, you guys have no sense of humor. You guys have no sense of humor. Bye, son. That was funny. That was funny. Y'all guys have no sense of humor. Oh, God.
Anna, you missed an amazing joke.
Come on, these jokes are really not that good. It was, oh, come on, you guys. Tough crowd.
What joke?
There was one in there somewhere.
I'm so leaving y'all. Y'all party poopers. Anna, tell everybody where they can find you.
Website. He some music download.
Oh, it's loud.
What happened?
Thank you. Sorry, music was very loud. Website is Borrelia, etc. YouTube, same thing. You can see the spelling right below me. I'm editing my video, so one to come very soon.
All right. Diaz?
You can find me lurking around here most times. That's your best bet for the time being.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, non-conforming individuals, and of course,
I'm assuming you're LGBTQ.
That is our show for tonight. I appreciate Anna. I appreciate Diaz. And until next time, we will see you when we see you. Peace.
I really don't know what to say. I don't know.
I didn't have you yesterday.
Free my boy Santos. How about that? There's a misunderstanding.
Several misunderstandings.